Hey there, fellow gardeners. If you're anything like me, you've spent countless hours spreading mulch only to watch it decompose, blow away, or need refreshing season after season. It's exhausting, expensive, and honestly, there's got to be a better way, right? Well, I'm thrilled to share a game-changing approach that's transformed how I garden, and I know it'll do the same for you. Welcome to the world of living mulch, where your garden practically takes care of itself year-round. Living mulch is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of covering your soil with wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves, you're using living plants to do the job. These are low-growing, ground-covering plants that spread across your garden beds, creating a living carpet that protects your soil just like traditional mulch would. But here's the kicker. It doesn't break down and disappear. It grows, adapts, and actually improves your garden ecosystem over time. I discovered this approach almost by accident 3 years ago, when I noticed how the clover growing between my tomato plants seemed to keep the soil moist and weed-free. That observation sent me down a rabbit hole of research, and honestly, I haven't looked back since. My garden has never been healthier, and I'm saving hundreds of dollars annually on mulch that I used to haul in by the truckload. Traditional mulch serves several important purposes. It suppresses weeds, retains moisture, regulates soil temperature, and over time, it eventually adds organic matter as it decomposes. Living mulch does all of this and more. The root systems of your ground cover plants create channels in the soil, improving aeration and water infiltration in ways that static mulch simply cannot. These roots also host beneficial microorganisms that form symbiotic relationships with your main crops. What really sold me was the nitrogen fixation aspect. Many living mulch options, particularly those in the legume family, actually pull nitrogen from the air and convert it into a form your plants can use. You're essentially getting free fertilizer growing right there in your garden. When you occasionally mow or trim these plants, they release that nitrogen back into the soil for your vegetables and flowers to absorb. It's nature's perfect recycling system. The moisture retention is absolutely incredible too. During last summer's heat wave, my neighbors were watering daily while my garden with its clover understory stayed consistently moist with half the watering frequency. The living canopy shades the soil surface, dramatically reducing evaporation while still allowing water to penetrate when you do irrigate. Not all living mulches are created equal, and selecting the right one depends on your climate, garden type, and what you're growing. For vegetable gardens, white clover has become my absolute favorite. It's low-growing, nitrogen-fixing, drought-tolerant once established, and honestly, it actually handles foot traffic reasonably well when you need to walk through your beds for harvesting. Creeping thyme is another phenomenal option, especially for areas with hot, dry summers. It forms a dense mat that weeds really struggle to penetrate, smells amazing when you brush against it, and yeah, it produces beautiful flowers that pollinators absolutely adore. For shadier garden areas, I've had tremendous success with creeping jenny and ajuga. These shade-loving spreaders thrive where most plants struggle, creating that protective soil layer even under trees or on the north side of structures. If you're growing perennials or have orchard settings, consider sweet woodruff or wild strawberries. Both create lush ground cover that complements taller plants beautifully while providing all those mulching benefits. The strawberries even give you an edible bonus, though the fruits are smaller than cultivated varieties. Starting a living mulch system is surprisingly straightforward, but timing and patience are key. I recommend beginning in early spring or fall when temperatures are moderate and rainfall is more consistent. You'll want to prepare your beds just as you would for any planting, ensuring the soil is relatively weed-free to give your living mulch a competitive advantage. For most ground covers, I start with plugs or divisions rather than seeds because establishment is much faster. Space them according to their spreading rate. Aggressive spreaders like creeping jenny can be planted further apart, while slower options like thyme benefit from closer spacing. Water them in well and maintain consistent moisture for the first few weeks while their root systems develop. Here's something crucial that took me a while to figure out: don't expect perfection in year 1. Your living mulch needs time to fill in completely. During that establishment period, you might still need to do some hand weeding or use small amounts of traditional mulch to fill gaps. Think of it as an investment that pays dividends for years to come. One technique I've found incredibly effective is interplanting your living mulch with your vegetables from the start. When I transplant tomatoes or peppers, I simultaneously plant clover plugs around them. By the time my vegetables are mature and demanding peak nutrients and water, the living mulch has established enough to provide those benefits without competing significantly. You know, the beauty of living mulch is really how little maintenance it needs compared to traditional options, but it's not entirely hands-off. A few times during the growing season, I'll give those vigorous areas a quick trim with grass shears or sometimes a string trimmer set high. This, well, it keeps the ground cover from overwhelming your main plants and chops up that green material so it can decompose right in place, feeding the soil community. In spring, I sometimes need to thin aggressive spreaders around my emerging vegetables. Rather than seeing this as a chore, I actually see it as free green manure. Those clippings get tucked around the base of my plants, adding an extra layer of protection and nutrients. Nothing goes to waste in this system. During particularly dry spells, your living mulch will help conserve moisture, but it also needs some water to stay functional. I've found that deep, infrequent watering works best, encouraging both your crops and your ground cover to develop deeper, more resilient root systems. Making the switch to living mulch has been, honestly, one of the most rewarding decisions in my gardening journey. My soil is healthier, my water bills are lower, my back doesn't ache from spreading bags of mulch, and my garden just buzzes with beneficial insects attracted to all those ground cover flowers. It's truly a win on every level. If you found this helpful and want more practical real-world gardening solutions that actually work, make sure to subscribe to Grow with Soil. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest tips, and share this with your gardening friends who are still hauling mulch every season. Together we're building healthier gardens and a more connected community. Now get out there and let those living plants do the work for you.